Happy All-Star Week, Gatemen fans, and welcome to this week's episode of Around the Horn. I'm your host, Claudia Chakamian, joined by Federico and Sam Corman. Now, before we get to all the excitement happening at Spillane Field this weekend with the AllStar Game, let's talk about what the Gatemen have been doing the past week. So, they've been improving.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 3 straight wins for the first time this season. Really impressive stuff. And you ask your Gatemen starters over the last 3 days, 18 innings, shutout baseball, 5 hits. The Gatemen starters, they've been absolutely fantastic. A lot of fun to watch. The pitching's been great, even out of the bullpen on this course of 3 straight wins, all over West Division opponents, by the way. The Cotuit Kettleers twice, the Hyannis Harborhawks. The Gatemen, they've had a good past week, despite the offense not being there entirely. They finally got that yesterday against Hyannis, and now moving forward, you'd like to see the offensive explosion once again. They went for 10 runs last night.
10 runs yesterday, but like you said, the starting pitching has been explosive. Shutout baseball for the most part from all of them: Joey Matulovic, Justin Montgomery, Griffin Roberts, Mason Field going tonight, and of course Miller Hogan. Sad to see him go, but he was incredible in the latter part of his season. So, the starting pitching, you really can't ask for much more. And with the way it's been, it would seem like the Gatemen would just be winning out because of how good they've been.
Right.
But, the run support hasn't really been there every single day. And it's been getting better and better as the season's gone on. But yesterday, 10 runs against Hyannis kind of exploded off of M.D. Johnson and the rest of their bullpen as well. Hyannis used 6 pitchers. They were forced to use 6 pitchers against the Gatemen lineup. And really good stuff all around from the lineup. Everyone got a hit except for one batter, I believe. And, when that happens, you're almost definitely going to win the game. So, if you're getting guys to contribute that one hit a game consistently, especially towards the bottom of the order, you add a guy like Nick Angelini to the lineup yesterday who hasn't played in about a week, and he has 2 hits and an RBI. Pretty good stuff there from the Bryant Bulldogs. So, it's just getting better for the Gatemen, and this West Division is wild how close. The wild West.
Yeah.
How close it is.
Yeah, but like you mentioned, Miller Hogan unfortunately had an innings limit, so he's out. He was only a first half player, and also Joey Matulovic pitched his last start against Hyannis. So what do we think really needs to happen now? When I spoke to head coach Don Stennon, he said that's going to be something they need to work on, is finding those people who can replace them in the rotation. So what do we think needs to happen?
Well, it's not just the rotation. It's really the bullpen as a whole. When you talk to Coach, he said the bullpen needs to step up and give you a lot of innings. Don't forget, Miller Hogan, he was the league leader in ERA. Now that he's gone, the Gatemen still have the league leaders in ERA in Justin Montgomery and Griffin Roberts, who they've been absolutely lights out, except for Montgomery did struggle a little bit this week against Harwich. Other than that, he went into that game with a perfect 0 ERA. So he's been really a lot of fun to watch. Griffin Roberts, his slider is nearly unhittable, and he's got such a baseball IQ. Really a lot of fun to watch, these Gatemen starters. But now you bring in Cody Smith, and you bring in Barrett Lowski, and you bring in other guys to replace them. We're not sure Joey Matulovic is going to have a replacement right now. So the Gatemen, they might stick with their 16 pitchers. And moving forward, you're going to ask a lot from your bullpen, guys like Frank German and Jordan Britton and Brett Conine and Dalton Roach.
Ask those. Wolfram, who pitched well.
Right, yeah. Wolfram was great yesterday for sure.
Is with these openings in the starting rotation, maybe you see a guy like Grant Wolfram get a few starts in. He was 13-2 in win-loss record at Davenport this year. The guy can pitch long distances, I'm pretty sure. So, you have some holes in the starting rotation with Miller Hogan and Joey Matulovic kind of stepping out, but you have some guys that might want to step into that role as well. You look to a guy like Mason Field, who has been kind of a starter/bullpen reliever kind of guy this year, and you ask him to kind of step into the starting rotation. He's gotten a lot better as the season's gone on as well. So these openings, it makes for some interesting stuff going down the stretch here. The home stretch, there's only 14 games left.
Yeah, when Justin Glover left too, we had the same conversation. Who's going to step up? And the Gateman pitching staff, they did. So I'm not worried about it at all.
Now let's talk a little bit more about Griffin Roberts, his incredible start against Cotuit. When I spoke to head coach John Stennon and some of the other coaching staff, they were like, that was one of the best pitching performances they've ever seen. And they've seen this season in the Cape League. So what's working so well for him?
Well, the slider, and he
Yeah.
just locates it so well. I mean, it's got such great speed, around 83 miles an hour, and then he hits 95 miles an hour on that fastball. I mean, at one point, the Lowell Park scoreboard showed 96. We're not exactly sure how accurate that is, but what is accurate is his location. I mean, he can really fool hitters with just placing the ball perfectly, really smart pitcher. You know, all these guys, they call their own games. Jim Lawler and Don Sneddon, they don't tell these pitchers what to throw in certain situations. They do it on their own. That's what we've seen. I think that's the biggest progression from these Gatemen pitchers throughout the season, calling their own games. They're really smart in terms of what pitches to throw at what times in an at bat. We're not seeing guys pitch backwards a lot. They get ahead in the count, and they make hitters pay, and they make hitters strike out a lot, or they're getting ground ball outs. I mean, that was, for all the strikeouts and the one hit that Griffin Roberts gave up, I think the most impressive part of it is he kept everything in the infield. Everything was a ground ball or a strikeout, and that's why he's Week 5 Pitcher of the Week in the Cape League.
I forget who it was that told me, but I believe someone told me that he's had the same grip on his slider since he was, since he could start throwing breaking balls in his career, basically, which is really cool stuff because he's just been able to develop that pitch for years and years now, and it's really paying off. You can just see how much, rotation it has on it. It's wild, that's that pitch. And, when he's commanding it, it's impossible to hit because the hitters, they just have no idea it's going to be a strike. It just looks like it's going to be either a hit by pitch or way inside. Right. So, when you have that going for you, that kind of stuff just coming out of your hand, all you have to do is really figure out how to locate and figure out, how to mix in some other pitches as well, get the fastball to blow by him, and he's done that perfectly in his last few outings, especially that last outing in Katuitt. As you mentioned, only one ball escaped the infield in 6 innings. That's basically unheard of. Yeah. So Griffin Roberts, he'll be the ace going down the stretch and into the playoffs for the Gatemen. Yeah,
for sure, and we know how good the pitching is. We talk about it every week, but the hitting has continued to struggle, but they finally had that offensive spark. I was actually, when I talked to Don Sutton before the game, I was kind of joking, like, oh, when's this offense going to explode? And then, boom, it happened in that game. So before that, the Gatemen struggled to score more than 4 runs in over 10 days. So what really, and like you guys mentioned earlier, the whole lineup was hitting and being consistent. So what else needs to happen moving forward? Because obviously you're not going to score 10 runs a game.
Well, yesterday against Hyannis in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th innings, that's when the Gatemen put all their runs on the board. In each of those instances, the Gatemen, they got the leadoff runner on every inning except one where they put together a 2-out rally with some errors. But the Gatemen hitting, it has gotten some breaks from the opposing defense over the past 2 or 3 games. And you need a little bit of luck to win baseball games, but for the most part, it's just really deciphering the pitcher and figuring out what's going on in his head and how to beat it. When you talked to Jake Anchia last night, I heard him say he knew what pitches were coming. That's why he had 3 hits against the Harbor Hawks. And, moving forward, the Gatemen, they really need to focus on what the pitcher's going to throw in a given situation. Work in practice with your hitters and your pitchers. Talk with each other. Figure out, what the situation is from, pitch to pitch, and as a whole, work together to grow as a team. And it's actually sort of funny to watch them do that because the top of the lineup and some of these pitchers, they're all Pac-12 guys, and they're going to be facing each other in the school season. So, some of these guys come from really fierce rivalries, and to watch them talk baseball and to learn from one another, it's really exciting. And when you're on a 3-game win streak, the camaraderie's there. It's going to be a lot more fun. Losing isn't any fun for anybody. We've seen the Hyannis Harbor Hawks go through that. The Gatemen right now, I think they're in a much better place mentally and physically, moving forward in this season. And I think it's because they're learning from one another.
I look towards this middle of the lineup, and I just really think that it can explode at any time. Kyle Castor, William McIver, Tanner Dodson has been unbelievable. Stephen Kwan at the very top of the order. And I just think that it's very vulnerable to just kind of have a game like it did yesterday. And the rest of the lineup kind of fed off that as well. Nick Angelini at the bottom of the order. And there were some good players that weren't in the lineup yesterday as well, like John Topa, who has been, above 300 hitter the entire season.
An all-star.
And also an all-star. And wasn't in the lineup yesterday, in the bottom of the Gateman order where he usually is, was still able to put together a lot of RBIs. And that's very important on a night-in, night-out basis in the Cape League where, guys aren't playing every day. You're subbing in, outfielders, infielders for each other every single day. And I really look towards the top of the order, especially Stephen Kwan, starting off a lot of innings, a lot of certain situations with singles. And I mean, it might only be a single from him, but he's getting on so consistently that it's just a huge boost to the guys below him, and the guys below him in the order are just that good of hitters where they're going to make the pitchers pay. And they're also not chasing pitches outside the strike zone as much. I mean, you saw earlier in the season, especially guys in the middle of the order, Tristan Pompey, William McIver, they were occasionally, especially outside pitches, they would kind of, rake after them outside the zone, and now they're being much more disciplined taking those pitches, and that helps so much when you're getting ahead in the count. William McIver especially, leading the team in walks as well. So, and of course I can't go without mentioning Stephen Kwan has 8 multi-hit games in his first 13 games as a Wareham Gateman. That's unheard of, honestly. So
you can definitely see the progression that's coming from this team and what they're learning from the coaching staff. It's really fun to be a Gateman right now. So a lot of good things are happening. Now let's send it over to Matt Feld, who's Feld at the field.
Alrighty, I'm Matt Feld, and I'm back with reliever Grant Wolfram, reliever Brett Conine. Conine's second year on the Cape, Wolfram's first. Wolfram out of Davenport, Brett Conine, of course, out of Cal State Fullerton. And we're going to have some Would You Rather with these two for the third time here on Around the Horn. And we're going to start with Grant. And Grant, would you rather have Brett Conine's juggling skills or his ability to grow a mustache?
Ooh, probably the ability to grow a mustache, because I cannot grow a mustache at all. That'd be sick.
All right, second question is for Brett. Would you rather have Grant's ability to play wiffle ball in the bullpen from the left-hand side, or would you rather have your nickname be the Big Bad Wolf?
No, no. I'd take his wiffle ball skills. Yeah, for sure. Oh my God. The Big Bad Wolf.
Question 3. You guys are playing, let's say, in the Cape League Championship, because you, of course, don't play for the same team back at school, and one of you has to hit. Would you rather have to hit from the left-hand side or have him hit from the left-hand side?
I'm going to have to say that I want myself to hit. So, I feel like I'm a pretty good hitter, so I think I'd take myself for sure.
All right, question 4 for Brett. Brett, you played in the Super Regionals, and you had a chance to go to Omaha, but let's say you're in the bottom of the 9th of the College World Series. You're up 3-2. Would you rather have to have Grant play shortstop or second base?
I'm going to go with second base on this one. Yeah, he'll have an easier time going up the middle and shorter throw. So, yeah.
And the final question for each of these two, as we ask everyone who's been on the show, would you rather have your name be Grant Conine or Brett Wolfram?
Probably Brett Wolfram.
Brett?
I'd agree. It's probably easier to say Wolfram than Conine. Yeah. It's a sicker last name, too.
Well, that's Brett Conine. That's Grant Wolfram, a pair of Gateman relievers who have already made their name for sure out here on Cape Cod playing for the Gatemen. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Matt. So like we discussed, a lot of really good things happening for the Gatemen this past week. Sam, who would you say your batter of the week was?
Tough choice all around, especially after yesterday's performance with, top to bottom, everyone getting hits. But Stephen Kwan, still undoubtedly for me, has been the best. 13 games so far with the Gatemen, 20 hits in that time and 52 at-bats. He's hitting .385. I mean, he's averaging about an RBI per game at this point. So, I mean, it may not be the prettiest hits. They might not be extra base hits into the gap or line drives down the line, but he's getting singles, and they're coming in important spots in the game where he's giving himself, RBIs almost every single game. He's hitting some sac flies, he's getting good situational hits. He's beating out infield hits as well. So he's just been doing it all for the Gatemen since he got here from Oregon State. And I'm just not surprised at this point when he leaves the game with 2 for 4, 2 for 5 with an RBI. It just seems like that's his standard with the Gatemen so far. So, I mean, batter of the week for me, undoubtedly, Stephen Kwan. I think he was I think he's an AllStar Game snub, but it's probably because he got here so late.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But then, Connor, who would you say was your pitcher of the week?
Well, it's really hard to choose. I mean, because you have 2 All-Stars from the Gateman pitching staff going. It's not going to be Justin Montgomery this week. He did struggle a bit against Harwich despite having a great first half of the season. Griffin Roberts, though, I mean, he was absolutely incredible. But what about guys like Miller Hogan and Joey Matulovic and even this bullpen that is come out and had such, flawless outings, really, I would call them, because you give your hitters just, a couple of minutes in the infield, let them regroup, and then you send them back into the dugout with chances to hit, chances to take the lead so often, chances to expand on the lead that maybe the Gateman offense already has. So, my pitcher of the week would be Miller Hogan. I know he's leaving the team. We're pretty sad about that. But when you throw 6 innings of no-hit baseball, you come in and you talk to Don Sneddon and you say, I want to go for the 7th. He does give up a hit. But 7 scoreless innings of 1-hit baseball, really impressive. He was great this week. Griffin Roberts, week 5, pitcher of the week. Him and his slider also deserve some recognition. Just the Gateman pitching staff as a whole, as simple as it is, that would be my pitcher of the week.
I agree with you on that. So now, exciting stuff happening at Spillane Field on Saturday. It's the AllStar Game. So what are you guys really looking forward to? I know it's all of our first AllStar Games with the Cape League.
Well, I think it's going to be a really fun atmosphere. You talk about averages of 6,000 to 8,000 fans at Spillane. This is going to be an electric atmosphere watching the best college baseball players in 2017 play, right here in Wareham. It's going to be so exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to the home run hitting contest before. I'm even looking forward to watching these players hit batting practice and take infield, outfield. That's just like the kind of talent that these guys have and the kind of atmosphere that they bring. They're all going to be looking to impress the many fans and the many scouts that they're going to be. It's a lot of pressure, but these are guys who come from big college programs and guys who can rise to the occasion. Even the guys who don't come from the big programs. Justin Montgomery, he's starting the game for the West, and he's a Division II player, soon to be a Division I player when Cal Baptist moves to the Western Athletic Conference. But other than that, these are all big-time guys, and no matter what school they're from, they can all rise to the occasion. They all have the talent to do it. It's going to be a really fun and competitive game.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited to see maybe that left field bleacher at Spillane be almost filled to the brim.
Almost. It's going to be.
That's going to be cool stuff, honestly, to see, because usually that thing is just, sitting out there, a big silver block out in left field, but now it's going to be filled with fans, so that'll be pretty cool to see. Also really excited for the home run hitting contest, as you mentioned. I think there's a lot of good hitters in there.
Gatemen have Tristan Pompey.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what Tristan Pompey can do.
His second home run hitting contest of the summer.
Yeah, he did pretty well in Omaha at the college home run hitting contest, and we talk about Spillane being almost like Major League walls. TD Ameritrade Park in Omaha is known for being very deep compared to other college parks. So asking a guy like Tristan Pompey to repeat the performance that he had back in Omaha here in Wareham, I think he'll be capable of doing that.
It'll be interesting because he probably will go from the left side.
Yeah.
But, the right side, the left field corner at Spillane Field, he is a pull hitter. If he went from the right side, he'd have a little bit of an advantage, about 15 feet shorter out there in left than it is in right to the visiting bullpen as opposed to the home bullpen. So kind of a difference weighing in there for Tristan Pompey in which side to hit from. Also, really excited to see some guys team up from different teams. John Topa and Zach Susi, 2 UConn guys, get to team up on the West All-Stars. Susi being a catcher out of Bourne, Topa being an outfielder, of course, with Wareham. Yeah. And then you get another one. You get also in the West. You get guys like Alec Boehm out of Wichita State gets to team up with his teammate at Wichita State, Grayson Genista from Katuitt. That'll be cool to see. These guys that play college with each other and then come here, get to play against each other, now get to re-team up in the All-Star Games. That'll be pretty fun stuff to watch at Spillane Field nonetheless.
And the Gatemen have 6 All-Stars, like we've kind of mentioned. So how do you think they're going to do overall? Like you said, Justin Montgomery will be the starting pitcher for the West, and then we have some starters in the field as well.
Well, the interesting part about it is that the East pitcher, Chris Bubich, the Gatemen defeated him and the YD Red Sox when they came to Spillane just a couple of weeks ago on Sunday, and that was a very fun game to watch. The Gatemen won that one 4-0. So John Topa and Kyle Kasser, they'll be coming off the bench, but Willie McIver, he could certainly take Chris Bubich for a ride, maybe once or twice, get a couple hits off him. I'm really looking forward to this all-star performance in front of the Gatemen's home crowd. It should be a great day, and I hope the Gatemen players, I know the Gatemen players will treat it that way.
Are we making bold predictions?
If you want to.
Okay, 'cause my bold prediction is a Tanner Dodson home run in this or in this All-Star game. Assuming he gets an at bat. I mean, we're assuming he's going to be hitting in the or in the All-Star game and not pitching. So,
Yeah, I'll be hitting.
so Dodson home run is my bold prediction at some point in the All-Star game. So, I mean, it'd be cool stuff. Either way, I mean, MacGyver has some power too. He might be looking to take one for a ride at Spillane.
I mean, the funny thing about Dodson starting in left field is that's where you usually put your weakest arm, and that is not the case with Tanner Dodson. We've seen him make some incredible double play throws from center field. We've seen him make great plays at the plate from right field. Yeah. I mean, he's really got it all. Putting him in left is almost like it's a bit of an insult, and hopefully he'll be gunning people down from left field because he can really show off what he can do defensively as a pitcher. We won't see that in the All-Star game, but as a hitter, I mean, this is a guy who's listed as a pitcher in point streak and is the second leading hitter in the Cape League. So what Dodson has done, along with all these Gatemen All-Stars, has been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a really fun day. So the All-Star game is this Saturday at Spillane Field. Gates open at 2 p.m. and the game will be at 6. So definitely come on out. So this is all for this week's episode of Around the Horn. Be sure to follow the Wareham Gatemen on social media on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and SoundCloud. For Connor, Federico, and Sam Corman, I'm Claudia Chakamian. Thank you for watching.